Morning. How's everybody today?
Good. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great.
Well, come give us a recap or review here of our clear mental picture of what you're going to bring to us today on this training day.
Well, spring is here, and everybody's wanting to go outside, and they've probably been in the barn all winter, and the horses aren't used to going outside yet. And this is a horse been here a couple months now, and I haven't been outside on him, so I don't have any idea how he's going to be. I don't like what he's doing right here. You can tell he's not as comfortable as I'd like for him to be. He's looking around, fidgeting around, so I'll deal with that first.
And so how are you dealing with that?
I haven't really dealt with it yet, but I just drew a line right here that's real, and didn't let him just stick his nose over here and see how much better he feels over there. I don't think they like being obnoxious any more than I like it, but they get in the habit of sticking their nose on you and searching for a treat or looking for a handout of some kind, and next thing you know, you got a monster on your hands. So anyway, I'm all for being good for a horse, but when that goodness has got to come in a way that they understand. And that way, I believe. See this right here? He's just looking for a way to. He got up out of his chair. He tried to run over me. Completely unacceptable behavior. I'm not going to just stand there and let him run over me. And he's still airheading off, looking around. I'm going to just wait here a little bit. Give him a minute to kind of come back down on earth. But what I was talking about, we hear that deep breath. You know, now he's a different horse. But what I was talking about being good to them, we've got to be good to them in a way that they perceive as good. And that is what you're seeing take place right now. Just, again, looking for a treat. You know, as soon as I put my hand out there, here his nose came. And he'd been here long enough now to know that there ain't going to be any treats come out of this hand. So it's lasting behavior when they've been taught to be looking for a handout. And so I'm being good to him right now by letting him stand there in complete freedom. He's in my picture. Now, I just did put a saddle on him. I just did walk up here with you guys and started talking, and he's fresh. So our goal here with this video today is to teach you how to best prepare your horse to go outside. If your horse moves like this one just did and you let it happen, you're setting yourself up for trouble when you get outside.
Well, how's that, Dennis? Because you're not on right now, and so he moved his feet.
That's how they express themselves. And there he did again.
So what do you think he's expressing?
He's expressing, I don't have to listen to you. You don't mean anything to me. And, you know, so I need to establish my role as the leader and establish my role as the protector. I'll protect him from, if anything's going to come in and eat this horse, I'll let him know, and then we can both run off together. But until then, he needs to just pay attention to me and listen to me. And then, you know, when he's acting real good, I have no problem at all getting my hands on him. But see, when I went around there to put my hand up on his neck, the first thing he did was pervert it with his nose, stuck around over there looking for a treat. So the thing that's wrong with that is they use that nose to get you to back up. And if that horse, I'm gonna have to quit talking and go to horse training here, because I can't understand it when they're standing there just fidgeting around on me. But if they use that nose to come in there and they get you to do that, boom, they've got you just like they've got you in their hand, and they're going to just have their way with you.
And what do you mean by have their way with you?
They are going to be in control, and they're going to be searching in every nook and cranny for something to jump at.
Every obstacle or every something to spook or
every invisible monster in the world will be present when that horse is thinking that he has to protect himself. So that's why I'm so adamant on that, and it needs to be dealt with every time you handle your horse. Not just one time when you want to come out and you want to hug and love on. Write yourself a letter and be good to yourself that way, or do something. You know, let this horse be a horse. And do I get enjoyment out of my horse? I love them. I love my horses, and I like being around them. Am I going to hug and kiss around on the horse? No, I'm just not going to do that. You know, I feel like that there are so many open doors when that kind of human behavior is forced onto a horse, that you're setting yourself up for trouble. That's enough being on this soapbox. I got to go to horse training because I've enjoyed all this obnoxious behavior I can stand. This horse has got to pay attention to me. He's got to move his feet when I ask him. And see, when I ask him to move his feet, you see him get a resentful posture, sticking his nose up and bracing, not wanting to move his feet. Get around there. Wringing his tail. He's mad because I put him to work. When he comes behind me over here, I'm going to step across and stop him. I didn't tell him to face up. I'm going to send him on. See, that resistance and going forward right there is exactly what we've got to overcome before we go outside. Move his hip, back him up. This change direction. Yeah, and I'm just directing energy. Can you hear him grunting and just playing? If I was on him right now, I might be on a bronc. So this is, and I'm not going to just stand there and watch him go around and around. I've got to get that bridle rein. I'm going to just fasten this up here where it's not going to get down on his feet. And see, I've got that outside bridle rein fairly loose. And the reason that I can work a horse on the ground with the bridle is because I'm not hanging onto the horse. If you're going to hang onto your horse's mouth, you better have your halter on. But I'm not going to hang on one. I'm going to send him. If he goes out and hits the end of the bridle, it's just like if he hit my hand when I'm riding him. I'm gonna pull on him till he comes off of it, and he's in the sweet spot. So he's going around me now not with a good attitude and not with a good posture. He's got his nose stuck out. He's showing to me signs of, see, when I asked him to turn right there, he just ignored me. I didn't ask him to turn there, and he said, I want to go back. So I'm going to just keep him up, change direction, forward. I'm going to take his hip away, move that front end. What I'm looking for with this high level of energy that I brought up is I'm looking for this horse to accept that energy. He couldn't stand it. I gave him an opportunity to stand over there, breathe, relax, and be kind, and here he come with his nose out. So I'm going to do, now it's pretty good attitude right here. This is it. I like where he's at here, so I'm going to let him be. It's okay. You let me touch him right now, right there, without having to stick his nose on me. See, these are the things that I'm dealing with right now that to me are vital to your safety. You know, reading the horse accurately here and addressing the attitude accurately that you're seeing at the moment will save your life when you go outside on the horse. Misreading what's going on here or not addressing it. By addressing it, I mean
say that again, because Dennis, that was really important. If they will just grasp that alone about reading a horse, that's going to help them so much.
So Cindy asked me to restate what I just said, and sometimes that's difficult for me to do, but I'm going to give it my best shot. But accurately reading a horse here and addressing it appropriately will save your life when you go outside. If we misread it or we don't address it appropriately, we set the stage for the horse to go out on high alert, looking for everything as a monster. And I don't want that. It still might happen some, even though we get to the bottom of this. But if we get to the bottom of it, we're going to have a much better chance of communicating effectively to this horse. And if I can get the thoughts here to go through his body down to his feet, now then I've got something I can work with. I can direct that energy when it comes up. It's going to come up out there, I have no doubt. So we've got to position ourselves so that we've got steering, we've got brakes, we've got tools. I'm not talking about equipment. It don't matter what kind of equipment you've got on. I'm talking about the ability to direct your horse, direct his feet, the ability for you to read and feel what's going on. If you feel him come up under you and that head's up and braced and they're standing still, you better get his feet moving. You know, because what happens on the other side of a horse that is stuck? That's a horse that's stuck. And there's a difference in a horse that's still and one that's stuck. He's still right now. He's still. This is a good posture. This is a good attitude. This is starting to become a horse that you can get on and be able to direct his feet. He just started off, typical of him anyway, just kind of bowed up. You know, I don't want to listen to you. Who are you to tell me what to do? In this relationship, there's no option. If you're gonna safely and deal with the horse and enjoy dealing with your horse and like this horse better tomorrow than you do today, you have got to be the leader, and there's just no option around that. And I'm not talking about a tyrant that's mean. I'm just talking about one that accurately reads what's going on and addresses it appropriately. So let me move his feet again. He's approaching an attitude that looks like he's probably ready to get on. And sometimes horses are smart. Sometimes they'll come out and act like this. There, he moved his feet. I didn't tell him. Sometimes they'll come out and act like, didn't think I was serious. See, I moved that foot, and then he said, playing the hokey pokey with me. He put his right foot in, and I caught him. Look at that. Get back.
So you really got to be on your toes when you're training and riding around a horse, right?
You can't be off somewhere. You got to be present. I'm gonna just move this hind end around here a little bit, and I'm looking for softness. I'm looking for agreement. See, if I've got to shut my hand when I'm working him like this, see how I've got that rein just laid. I'm just doing that to show you. If he would leave, I would shut my hand. But if I have to keep my hand shut to keep him with me, he's not with me. So I'm just going to step up there again and move that hip. I'm looking for agreement. I'm looking for him to not overreact. See where he's got his head? He's got his head stuck up. He's reaching for that rein. He's expecting me to do something, so he's become defensive. You see that head come up? When I move, I'm going to do this until that head's not coming up. There. Now he tried to find a sweet spot to be good, and then he had to leave again. So I just stayed there until that happened. Now I'm going to bring his front end between me and his hip. You might think, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, he had to load up onto his hind end. He had to reposition the weight of his body because of where I was standing to make that turn through. So we're starting to communicate with his posture. Now he's just softly stepping around here. Now when I stop, he should stop. And I didn't have to pull on him. Now I'm going to ask you, doesn't this look like a more pleasant conversation than him being obnoxious, sticking his nose up on me trying to get a treat? Okay, I just asked that. I don't know what your answer might be, but I got a pretty good idea. Anyway, so I'm going to send him forward here again. Now, his attitude is much better, so my energy is down right now. My energy is fairly low, but I don't like the way he's reaching out there for that on his nose. I'm going to just store that in my mind and put him to work here a little bit more. See, when I raise that energy up, the attitude sort of tanked. Now, if I just let him go around and around, what he would start doing is looking outside and leaning inside. That's not going to serve me when I get outside. So I do these things in short intervals, and I'll stop, and I'm addressing the attitude of the horse. And when the attitude of the horse is good, I want him to feel this complete freedom every time. I want him to know how he got to that spot too. I want him to know that it was his attitude that took him out of it. It's his attitude that'll bring him back in. And that's how I can change an attitude from whatever it might be to one that is workable and agreeable. Okay?